Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Hope you are okay on that side of the screen. And today I've got here a small beast, actually not only one, I've got another beast right over here, and also a small beast, which is the new Chewy Lark, which was the smallest or the first mini PC that I did test out on this display. This is the Innocn 40 inches, and we are going to take a look at it. This is a 40 inches display targeted at gaming with 144 Hz, but it also targeted at design. And when I mean design, photo editing, video editing, and so on and so forth, which makes it a huge deal at a really nice price. Now, this is a 40-inch display. I've got a 49-inch display right over here. I'm not really sure if you can see it. And they both are ultra-wide with the same form factor. This one has an ADS panel, which is one of the IPS derivations. They state that ADS has some advantages like brightness and contrast and also rigidity. And honestly, putting side by side with my main display, I do not notice any changes in brightness and in contrast. I do notice the rigidity of the panel. It's a bit more rigid. Not that I will be doing something with it. And honestly, if you ask me, do you prefer rigid or less rigid? Not really sure. I don't touch it, so that is okay. But when I look at the brightness and the contrast, looking at my main display, which is only 60 Hz, I don't see a difference. But when I think about prices, mine costs the double than this one right over here. So I do believe that that's a huge difference, having this panel with a great quality at an affordable price. With a resolution of 3440 by 1440 at 144 Hz. I also did manage to use another resolution, which is 3840 by 2160, but only at 60 Hz. And I can't explain really well this resolution, but the fact is that it works. It has HDR 400, 1 millisecond response time, and a blue filter, also NVIDIA G-Sync or AMD FreeSync. So as we can see, it has all the advantages for gaming, but it also has all the advantages for editing. In terms of the display itself, it has this really strong base. This is a metallic base, which is easy to assemble. And then it has a arm, also really strong, to hold a almost 9 kilograms display, which is well built and heavy. We are able to tilt, to swivel, and we can adjust it and height as well. So I do believe that we will get our perfect angle, at least in the experience that I have with the few days that I've been using. And besides all that, if we want to use it on our VESA mount, we can do that. We can put it on a wall and make it probably a little bit more elegant. At least in my opinion, the display is a little bit more elegant. I do tend to leave these that are more heavy on the stand, but it's an option and I do enjoy that. At the back we will find the power input, and we will also have two HDMI 2.0, which the maximum refresh rate that I was able to get was 100 Hz, and it has a display port which can get maximum resolution at 144 Hz, and also a USB Type-C, which I did test out with my MacBook Pro, and probably it's not the best machine to test out the refresh rate, so I was only getting 60 Hz with the maximum resolution. But one interesting thing is that I can just plug in my laptop and it will power while delivering image pass-through and so on and so forth. So that's really great. I can just plug in any laptop with USB Type-C or Thunderbolt, and we will have the charging mode without needing to have the charger on the side. In terms of the bezels, they are really thin, and at least the ones on the sides and on the top. Here at the bottom we can see a larger chin, and then of course here on the middle we have the brand Innocn. And if I look at this or my Dell 49 inches, the design is more or less the same. It is elegant. Probably the bezels on the Innocn are a little bit smaller. Yes, the bezels are smaller, but that's basically it. One of the things is that this one has a non-curved panel, and this has advantages and disadvantages, but for this size I do believe that it is preferable to have no curve at all than being curved. But of course, this is a personal choice. I'm looking at it and also seeing something which is interesting, which is the color reproduction. Now, we were talking about ADS and IPS, the advantages and disadvantages, but most advantages, because we have higher brightness and higher contrast, even though I don't have a tool that I could measure, because probably those values are very small. But in this particular case, I'm looking at this angle right over here, and I can still see the colors without much color shifting. There is some color shifting because I'm at a huge angle, but great for this kind of panel. Usually for this size, for this characteristics, 144 Hz, 1 milli response time, we should be on VA panels or TN panels, which will decrease the quality of the color, brightness and contrast. And no, we are on an IPS panel called ADS. All the benefits that we have on an IPS panel, which is great for video editing and photo editing, so on and so forth. But talking about gaming, I did test out some games right over here, and it's a huge pleasure to play on an ultra wide, which is not too large and it's not too small in my opinion. The experience was really nice. I did play quite a few games, 3 or 4, can't really recall. One thing that we should have in mind is that I'm using a quite powerful computer right over here. I have a few GPUs, fortunately, to test out. The most strong GPU that I've got is a 3080, but in this particular case I'm using a 3060, so I had to adjust a few of my settings to medium so that I could get higher frame rates on some games, because we are talking at a large resolution. But the experience, the graphics, the intensity of the game on a format by 21:9 is just awesome. The only thing that I don't enjoy on 20:9 is when we are watching 16:9 movies or things, not movies but videos, especially YouTube videos. That's the only thing that makes a bit of confusion, because we will have some black bars right over here. Besides that, everything else is just advantages. Now, video editing, which is my bitch, just great. Just having the option to be editing on a large display, ultra-wide display, which I've been using for more than 2-3 years now, it is a huge difference. I used to have a triple display on the past, and then when I changed to ultra-wide, I didn't go back. And in this particular case, I do believe that it's a really nice size for it. It's not too big and it's not too small. We will have a great size of timeline, so we can do a lot. And I'm talking about video editing, but if you do photo editing, the experience will be as great. Now, when we think that the experience is great on video editing, usually the experience is not great at gaming, which is something that doesn't happen with this display, because once I finish my editing, I will still have available a great image quality and 144 Hz available, 1 millisecond response time, and also all this size and resolution to play some games. So this is something weird to me, because usually we will have one or the other. Great colors on an IPS panel at 60 Hz, better refresh rate with not so good quality on the image, because we will go to TN or VA panels, which are great but not as great as IPS or ADS. And in this particular case, I feel that we've got, I wouldn't say everything, because we don't always have everything, but most of it. It's right over here, and that's really interesting. It has a menu on that side, which I can't reach right now, but I will show you a few images right over there. Simple menu, very useful. We will find game options right over there, and then we have a menu called Professional, which basically is color calibration. We will find sRGB, Adobe, and so on and so forth. Picture modes, we will find the brightness, contrast, which we can use the presets or do our own. Picture in picture is very useful. It's something that I use frequently on my ultra wide to connect, for example, my Mac Mini on one side, Mac Studio on the other side, and do some fast comparison. Nós temos aqui o Lockbox, que é uma máquina que está no mínimo interessante. The volume takes us to the sound that this display has, and I would say that this one is on mid-range. We had here some displays that have a great audio quality, some of them a really bad audio quality. This one right over here, you will be able to use the audio, but I do believe that the best quality will come from an external source so that you can enjoy a great audio with a great image quality. So if I would get this display as my main display, I would say that I could handle probably 3 or 4 months using this, and probably I would use some headphones to have a better experience, but down the road I would save some money to put a really nice pair of speakers right over here, because they deserve. Probably I would have to say that it's meant specially for gaming, but it has so many high quality characteristics that it makes a good or a great display for video editing as well, because we are talking about a huge resolution 21:9, which is more targeted at the editing world, but at the same time 144 Hz, 1 millisecond response time, and then we have IPS, in this particular case ADS panel, with a great color reproduction, really nice brightness, contrast, 500 nits, HDR 400, which will be on both sides, gaming and also editing. So this is, in my opinion, a great choice at a great price. I will leave a link down below. It's still not available for sale, but it will be soon. But you will be able to check out more specifications. Hope that the video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget that usual thumbs up right over there, which today it's really far from here. My name is Roberto, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.